Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Cuz You Don't Know Football. Guys, you know what time it is. It's weekly. We give y'all exactly what y'all asked for. You know what I'm saying? I don't even know why y'all would even go anywhere else at this point. No, we got week 15 in the books. We're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about week 16. Then we're gonna talk about we got Tazar on here. Sorry for stuttering, y'all. We got Tazar on here. He gonna break down his playoff picture, and we're gonna get to it. Tazar, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
That's what we talking about, man. Welcome back, family.
What's up with you, cuz?
Listen, man, I told you about wearing that jersey. You know what
Miss-
I'm saying?
Mr. Ed Reed, the greatest to ever do it. You
Nah,
you already know how it
you,
goes.
you picked the right one. Actually, I'm a big fan of Ed Reed. If I ever met Ed Reed, I'd probably jump up and down on my toes like this.
I met him in Murmur one time. He rode down the earth.
Did I ever tell you the story of during COVID when I actually met Clinton Portis and Clinton Portis and Edgerrin James in the club?
I met Clinton Portis at Harris too, at the pool. I never met Edwin James though.
Yeah, I met them. They were together. They were in a club in Atlanta, and I was actually doing security, and they asked me which one was the better running back. So they needed some information too. I just wanted you to know.
Would you tell Edwin James or did you say Clinton Portis? You had to say Edwin James.
I said Edgerrin James,
Yeah.
but I like Clinton. I told him like I like Clinton a lot. Like that's definitely one of my favorite running backs. But yeah,
Yeah.
I'm wrong with Edgerrin on this one.
Yeah. I mean that's a real tough. I mean, I guess Edwin James did have a better career because where he was, but I mean Clinton Portis was that guy. He just, you know, Washington, especially our whole lives, they basically like squandered talent.
Well, the way I looked at it, it was like Edgerrin James and Clint Portis had like opposite careers. So, not careers. When they were like really, really good, they both were good. Like,
For a long time.
initially, they both were good initially. Um, but then Clint Portis, yeah, he when he got traded to Washington, he had good years. It just wasn't like it was when he was in Denver.
I I think it's not the talent. I think it's because the organization was a mess. Like I
Absolutely,
can't
absolutely.
say anybody went to Washington and thrived as long as I can remember football. Like that's kind of the play when an organization's bad.
Jaden Daniels, don't you sleep? Don't you forget what's going on right now in front of you.
He's only a rookie, my man. He's
Jaden
only a rookie.
Daniels. Nah, no, you're right.
Jane Daniels and um, RG3's rookie year are the only bright spots. Because even when there were bright spots before, like they just didn't do anything with it. When they had Colt McCoy, he came out had a few good games, nothing. They ended up with Don McNabb, super nothing. They had Deshaun Jackson, he didn't get nothing. Like yeah, and Sean Taylor might be the only other player I could say was something in Washington.
He was
Todd
something.
Heap.
He was something.
Todd Heap and Sean Taylor. Todd Heap and Sean Taylor.
Todd
But
Heap? Nah, Todd Heap was only good with y'all. He wasn't good in Washington.
he was considering he's a tight end, he
Um,
was still decent.
nah, I would give you the other tight end. No, I can't think of his name right now.
The boy from 49ers, that ended his career there.
No, you're talking about Vernon Davis. No, it doesn't matter. We'll get to that another time. All right. So we're gonna get to these week 15 games real quick. So we're gonna start off with the Bucks putting a belt to the Chargers' ass.
Belt to ass.
So the Bucks won 40-17. Uh, let's see. Justin Herbert was 21 of 33, 195, two touchdowns and one pick. Uh, Gus Edwards had 23 yards rushing, but that was it. Larry McConkey had 58 yards receiving and a touchdown, and Quentin Johnson had 45 yards and a touchdown. The Bucks. Baker Mayfield was 22 of 27, 288 yards, four touchdowns and one pick. Bucky Irvin, he had 15 carries, 117 yards. Even Rashad White had 15 carries for 64 yards. It's not great. It's just double everything that the Chargers did on the ground. Mike Evans, nine receptions, 159 yards, two touchdowns. Jalen McMillan, he had five receptions, 75 yards and a touchdown, and Rashad White also had 17 yards and a touchdown. So, so are the Chargers really this bad, or are the Bucks this good?
I'm gonna say a little bit of both. I think the Chargers decide to go into a rebuild mode and not tell the players. Like obviously, when they let go of their number one receiver, they brought in a new head coach. It's a whole new philosophy over there. I would have expected for the defense to still show up. You still got Joey Bosa, who's getting long in the tooth. You still got Khalil Mack, who's getting long in the tooth. And it's still a 3-4 defense, but they have zero production over there. And Joey Bosa, even though he's older, like
Mhm.
I still expect something. Like he was upper echelon, not a top DM, but an upper echelon. With Khalil Mack on the other side, I just figured you would get some pressure at some point. This is Baker Mayfield.
Mhm.
This ain't Mahomes. This ain't Allen. This ain't. I mean, like you, they're getting nothing out of them this year. And just last year, Khalil Mack had like 15, maybe 16 sacks.
Absolutely. We had that conversation here because you said Justin Herbert didn't have any help on his roster, and I gave you the bookends, and I was like, no, Khalil Mack has like 16 sacks. He has
And it's so crazy because like 2 years ago he had nothing, and last year he had like 16, 17 sacks. Now this year again he has nothing. And I'm wondering, are they tanking to build or like I never believed in this hardball. I believe in my hardball. This hardball always gets everything and never really produces. Yes, he won the championship in Michigan, but what else has he done in his career?
I got you. Well, actually, for me, I actually think the Chargers are overachieving. I think so. I expected next year to be when they would really catch up to stuff, but the Chargers, like the culture of the Chargers, has been bad, bro. Like I can't even tell you how many times that as soon as I thought that the Chargers were going to take that leap, I'm not even talking about now. I'm talking about in the last like 15 years, and so much even sports betting. I put money on it for them to show up and be exactly who they were the whole time. So I think Harbaugh is going to change the philosophy. I think he's going to change the culture. I believe in what he'll do. I expected more from them this year. I'm actually more shocked that they're 8-6 and they're doing that well this year. To be honest with you.
To be honest, if that was your goal, then you should have gotten rid of Bosa and Khalil Mack when you still had they still had something in the tank. Last year, at the end of last year, when you brought in Harbaugh, it would have been the perfect time to say, Khalil Mack still has something in the
No, this
tank.
is his first year. This is his first year.
I know. They
Okay.
should have got rid of when you knew you were getting rid of that head coach and coming to Harbaugh, you should have just got rid of everything and got him all the picks so he could get what he needed. There's no what Khalil Mack's 33, 34 years old, Joey Bosa's around the same age. What are
Mhm.
you gonna do with them? Like they're gonna demand money, but their production ain't there. Like
Yeah, week to week, but yes, you're correct. But they've had games this year where they've been very dominant. You know what I mean? It's just been
I think
inconsistent. That's
combined
just a Chargers thing. It always ends up being inconsistent.
that's coaching then. Like I can't say that it's okay to be inconsistent and we got a whole new coach over there. Like if we're buying into a system, we're buying into a system and my man has to produce. Like there's no other way around it.
Okay. Okay. Sounds good. Sounds good. All right. Well, we're gonna move on. Unfortunately, we're gonna talk about my Colts. I know you got a lot of bad stuff to say, so that's fine. We lost to the Broncos 31-13. Now, I am going to let people know that score doesn't really indicate what that game looked like, and we'll go into that. Don't worry. But Anthony Richardson, he was 17 of 38 for 172 yards, no touchdowns, and two picks. Jonathan Taylor was 22 carries for 107 yards. Anthony Richardson actually had the rushing touchdown. Michael Pittman Jr. led us with 58 yards receiving, and not much more going on there. Bo Nix, he was 20 of 33 for 130 yards, three touchdowns, and three picks. Bo Nix also led them in rushing for 23 yards, channeling his Josh Allen. And Cortland Sutton led them receiving with 32 yards with a touchdown. Um, Adam Trotman, he had a receiving touchdown, and so did Nate Atkins. Let me go first on this one, just so I can explain. This game was actually 10-3. We were up 7-0. We went up 10-0, and it got to be 10-3. And then Jonathan Taylor breaks a run and he drops the ball before he enters the end zone, which we would have been up 17-3. And then with that field goal, the extra field goal, we would have ended up with 20 points. Now, am I saying we definitely would have won that game had everything gone to plan? No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that play definitely changed how we can play, or the kind of game that we had to play.
It changed
Um,
momentum.
because it didn't change the momentum, and I'm getting there. It didn't change the momentum. It changed how we had to play. See, the problem with this offense right now, we're not very good on offense. I told you I'm not the biggest Anthony Richardson fan, as him starting right now. Even when he got benched, I was actually more like I didn't really want to see him for the rest of the year, to be honest with you. Um, we don't have a high ceiling for our offense. We have to play a certain way. Like, you know what I mean? And that way is way more dependent on running the ball. Now, unfortunately, it took us 13 weeks, 15 weeks to figure out, oh, we should be running the ball more with Jonathan Taylor and with Anthony Richardson and not asking him to be Drew Brees. Um, but we're here now. You know, our defense actually had a really good game and we forced three turnovers. You know what I mean? Yeah, and our offense just consecutively is just not able to get us to where we are supposed to be. Uh, we're mathematically not out of the playoffs, but for all intents and purposes, we're out the playoffs. I really want. I think we should bring everybody back, but I have my feelings about what next year is going to be. But I want to see next year from everybody and just see where we're at. For the Broncos, man, defensively they're tough, man. They're gonna be a tough out for whoever they play in the playoffs. I'm really excited to see who they get in that first round because that could be a really good matchup and a really big scare for somebody. But that's what I got for this game.
Uh, Listen, I'm not mad at your team.
I'm
Um,
mad at them.
I thought that they would be a little bit further along with the
Yes,
projection or the
yes.
production. Anthony Richardson being injured last year, like I think he's playing hero ball, and that's why you get like the 48% passing or completion percentage.
It was 30 at one point.
Um, you also don't have a
Then he
whole
tapped
lot
out
of.
and said, "I'm tired." Sorry for interrupting you. I just wanted to make sure it was clear.
I mean, I'm just gonna come to his defense, right? Of all the rookie quarterbacks, he has all right. He probably has the best or one of the better running backs, but his receiving core, even like all right. So he was a rookie last year, and going into sophomore year, you see the Tennessee or the Texans went out and got my man some help. You got a young quarterback who's learning the position, and they didn't really do anything out like you last year. You had your run Jonathan Taylor pissed off. This year you don't have any help at the receiver position. Not to mention your defense, is lacking pressure on the ball. And I feel like there's a lot of teams lacking pressure. The DNs, the outside linebackers aren't really maybe they're not as productive as they used to be, or maybe it's the rule changes. But like for him to be a young quarterback, they're not giving him what he needs.
So
Like
I will say this. I will say this. The one thing that has failed him, there's a couple positions that have failed him for different reasons. One, our tight end group has failed him. That's just because Jelani Woods actually been hurt since he got drafted, and the rest of them have done like pretty much nothing. And the cornerback group, and those in our top two corners have always been injured. I have no idea why that's happening. Juju Brents has been hurt ever since he's come into the league. So those two positions, you can't predict on it. But yeah, I mean, a rookie defensive end, Liatu Latu, he actually showed very good games. To be real with you, do I think we need another defensive end pass rusher? Absolutely, I do. But all in all, I would say
relying on a rookie DN tells me that you didn't have planned well to begin with. I'm just gonna put that out there. Like because as a rookie, there are very few DNs who come in and do great, right? Like you don't have a whole lot of star power on that defense. And I'm not sure where you guys sit in the salary cap, but like that it's kind of annoying to see like a young quarterback not get anything. You mean like yeah, I feel though if you think this is your quarterback, spend the money now while he's learning, make the game easier for him to understand, and then when you have to pay him, like you can dial back on the other parts because he's gonna have more control over the game. But you're saving money now for what?
yes, which goes back into what I was saying in terms of game plan. Why it was pissing me off so much. If you know everything that you just said was correct, why are you why are you asking him to throw the ball 30 times, 38 times? Like
I,
you should have protected him more if you knew all of this was more limited.
to be honest though, if you're asking him to throw the ball 38 times, why not go get him a receiver or two receivers that's going to create an easy um, possession for him? Like you got one receiver out there doing all this work, and you know, okay, you put your best corner on him, and now Anthony Richardson's job is so much harder. Like you didn't go out like all right. CJ Stroud went out there, proved himself last year. They go get Joe Mixon. They go get Diggs. Right now, when this guy gets injured, he can still be productive. Anthony Richards, or is it Richards or Richardson?
Richardson.
Anthony Richardson is literally one injury away from like not having anything. Like if Jonathan Taylor goes down, what are we watching? We watching a soccer game? Like
Fair. Okay,
honestly,
that's fair. That's fair. So you're speaking to his upside, and I think that's he needs more help, and that's part of the reason why I'm saying I don't think I want to part with the coach and GM this year because I want to see. You know what I mean? If they watch this, that's why I don't want us to. Actually, I don't want us to win any more games. I want us to flame out. You know what I mean? Everybody who hurt, I don't want to see you no more this year. If you got a sore pinky, I don't want to see you no more this year. You know why? Because I want us to flame out because we need picks and we clearly need more help as a roster. So I want to see what happens with that.
yeah.
Um, all right, cool. Well, let's move on. Um, we're gonna go to those to the Buffalo Detroit game. So Buffalo went into Detroit and won 48-42, which ironically, because of the Colts Broncos game, that was actually closer than it seemed. This wasn't as close as the score seemed. Um, but yes, the Detroit did make it something at the end. Jared Goff was 38 of 59. Jeez, we threw 60 times. That lets you know everything. 494 yards, five touchdowns, no picks. Jahmyr Gibbs had um, 38 yards rushing and a touchdown. Amon-Ra St. Brown had 14 receptions for 193 yards and a touchdown. Sam Laporta had 7 receptions for 111 yards, no touchdowns. But Jahmyr Gibbs had 83 yards receiving with the touchdown. And Jameson Williams had 37 yards with a touchdown. Oh, no, there's more. Tim Patrick had a touchdown, and so did Dan Skipper. I never even heard. Oh, that's the offensive lineman. They did have an offensive lineman score. That's crazy. Josh Allen, he was 23 of 34, 362 yards, two touchdowns, no picks. James Cook, 14 carries, 105 yards, two touchdowns, and Josh Allen had 11 carries for 68 yards and two touchdowns. Ty Johnson had five receptions for 114 yards. The touchdowns came from Khalil Shakir and Ray Davis. So let me just say this because there's one thing that does need to be stated about this game. The Lions lost like three more pieces. That defense, I think they lost eight players altogether that were starters this year. And I don't know if any of them are actually coming back. They have a lot of injuries and stuff like that. So they dropped this game. They're 12-2. The Bills are 11-3. For me, this game for me locks up what I've been saying since August, which was Josh Allen's going to win the MVP. When everybody told me Josh Allen lost all his weapons, this is supposed to be a rebuild, I looked at last year and I said, you know what? They run the ball more. They throw the tight end more. They're more physical. They're more pounded out. Pause. Grind this out. Pause. Uh, and I liked what was happening, and I thought it would take pressure off of Josh Allen while still allowing him to be the necessary piece. This fits him more than having all of those receivers, which is why I say what I say about wide receivers. So when you talk about Anthony Richardson and the wide receivers, uh, when you talk about Josh Allen, when he loses his wide receivers, has the best year that he's ever had. Um,
And then after his production went up, they go and get him Cooper. So
but
like
Amari Cooper's not he's not that guy anymore. Like that's more of a name. I'm not saying he's bad. That was a great addition. That was a great addition.
he's the best receiver they have by far.
They got young dudes. You know what I mean?
They do got young dudes, but
They got two young
you
dudes.
gotta call a spade. Like he's learning his role, and you got Keon Coleman. Is that his name?
Mm-hmm. He's a
Who's
rookie.
who's a rookie? Who's telling him, "Nah, you're in the wrong slot." Like on the line,
Mm-hmm.
like so that I mean, they got him at the trade deadline, and Cooper was, he's been a journeyman now. This is his fourth team. You
Yeah,
know,
that's what I'm saying. Like,
just
I
like
mean,
his eighth quarterback, maybe ninth quarterback. You know what I mean?
probably more than that. I mean, he was in Oakland and in Cleveland. It's probably more than that.
Yeah, he might have had eight quarterbacks last
He
year
might
in
have had
Cleveland.
nine just in those two spots.
But all I'm saying is, you went out and got him the guy who's not going to crack under the lights. Like you remember, Keon was great. He's a great pickup. I love his sound bites, but his body has never been this far into a football season. You mean like
Fair,
that's a big deal.
fair.
Um, they lose their 1-2 last year. That's a big deal. So I'm not knocking it. I personally said I do see this being a good year for him, but I see it without them getting help. I said I see him, God forbid, getting injured because he already plays hero ball. He already wants to run the ball. He
Hmm.
already wants to run through linebackers and defensive linemen and jump over people. And we've seen it in the past where the team doesn't support a player to protect himself, so he goes out there and gets it himself, and then he ends up with a
Right,
MCL, ACL, shoulder.
right. Listen, the only thing that I don't like about Buffalo, to be honest with you, and it's hard to see right now, but I think they need two pass rushers. Um, that's
I,
it. If they had two pass rushers, I would be picking them to win the whole thing. But they need not just one, but two. Like Von Miller just isn't producing as a pass rusher anymore. You know.
yeah, Von Miller's not producing, not because he's not producing, but because he's by himself. I mean, like he was a freak in nature at the beginning of his career.
I can't
Now he
hold
can
that
be
because he got paid
complimented.
a lot of money. He got paid a lot of money to at least produce. And there's
What,
been
what
pass rushers where they were pretty much the only pass rusher they still produced. He's just past his prime. There's nothing wrong with that. Von Miller was great.
I know, but my point is when you're past your prime, like so many guys are, you normally become middle of the pack. You don't go past your prime and you're the worst guy in football. If Von Miller was the additional guy to someone else who's in their prime, like you would see it. But he's out there by himself.
I got you. I got you.
But you're right, he did get paid a lot of money.
Oh yeah, he got paid. He's supposed to be producing. So I
Six
don't know.
years,
While you're looking
150
at that, is
million.
this his last year on that contract, or does he have? Is he on there for next year too?
Um, nah, he got 2 more years.
Yeah, that's going to be a problem.
You
That's going
understand
to
me?
be a problem. Because
Because
if they had those pass rushers, I would be doing them. I would be looking at them. But yeah, it sucks. Detroit, man, this is a great year that they're having, probably the greatest year that they've ever had in like Detroit Lions history. And it's a shame that all these injuries are happening because
most injured team in football.
yes, yes, by far. um. All right, cool. So we gonna move it. We're
That
gonna move this
that
along.
that game though had major implications because it seemed like no one in the NFC was going to catch up to Detroit, and now they're they're no longer Superman. They're Clark Kent. You mean like you see there's
Yeah.
weaknesses to their game that and they they lost another running back.
Yeah, yeah. David Montgomery, he's going too. It's a shame too, man. I'm gonna be honest, with you, that's really a shame because even Aiden Hutchinson, when he got injured, like he was leading the league in sacks. You know what I mean? Um, so he might have even been like the defensive player of the year. You know, so you lose like it's been hard. You know, they lose Carlton Davis, who's the corner. They bring in from Tampa Bay. Um, yeah, they just lost a lot of pieces and a lot of
Didn't they just pick up a DN at the end of the trade deadline?
yes. Zadarius Smith.
Okay, from the Browns.
Mhm.
Yeah,
All right, cool. All right, let's move. Keep it moving. The Eagles also kind of put the belt to ass to the Steelers.
not
They
kind
won.
of. Definitely.
They won 27-13. I thought that would make you happy for me to say that. Um,
I was torn because if the Steelers beat the Eagles, like there's a chink in the armor, like because this team is who San Francisco was last year, top to bottom, the most talented team, top to bottom. They could probably beat anyone on a good day, but they implode on their own, right?
mhm.
But if the Eagles beat the Steelers, that gives us, I think the Steelers already clinched, which is weird because I think we have, if we beat them this week, we'll be tied. And
Mhm.
then, but they have that the Steelers already clinched on NFL.com. But I don't know how that's mathematically possible.
I don't know. And we'll see. Russell Wilson, he was 14 and 22, 128 yards, one touchdown, no pick. There was no rushing going on. I'm not even going to bring them stats up. Calvin Austin the third, he had 5 receptions for 65 yards, no touchdowns, but Pat Fryermuth had their receiving touchdown. Jalen Hurts, he was 25 of 32, 290 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Saquon had 19 carries for 65 yards. Jalen Hurts also had the rushing touchdown. AJ Brown, he had 8 receptions for 110 yards and a touchdown. Devontae Smith, he had 11 receptions for 109 yards and a touchdown. Yeah. I was looking at a stat. Saquon Barkley got tackled at like the 1 or 2 yard line 11 times, and Jalen Hurts uh, scored the rushing touchdown. Um,
On
and
10 of those.
I say all that to say, we about 10 yards from Saquon Barkley having like 18 touchdowns on the ground. Um, so the Eagles got the receiving game back in there. So now what? What are we looking at in terms of the Eagles now?
I, I think I think AJ Brown did what was absolutely necessary to get the team on track. Most people, I would call them casuals, look and see that Saquon Barkley is doing all these great things, right?
Hmm.
But me being critically thinking, I recognize the fact that Saquon Barkley's been there on every down every possession, every game, and they still had two losses. He has two drops in those two games earlier in the season, and the team is fucking undefeated since AJ Brown's been back. When he had those two, I think he was missing in like the first two or three games. They are now like 10-0 with AJ Brown. Like when you spread the ball and it's crazy because like the media tried to turn him into someone he's like a bad guy because he wants the ball. And I feel like if you have a receiver of that caliber that doesn't want the ball,
All wide receivers want the ball. Trust me.
all wide receivers want the ball. But if you have a receiver of that caliber who's arguably a top three, and you can say one, two, or three interchangeably, he's not a Jamar Chase, and he's not a
No, he's
Justin.
him. He's him. He's him. Like there's no real model for AJ Brown. He's AJ. Somebody else is going to have a model, and it's going to be AJ Brown. But AJ Brown is AJ Brown.
AJ Brown is the new TL. Like he's big, he's
I don't
physical.
think. I think like no. He uses AJ Brown uses his body pulse better than To did in terms of yeah,
I,
in
I
terms of
think
jump balls, in terms of back shoulder throws. Like To
I think
didn't really box.
I
Like
think
he's like a power forward that can run like a 4-4.
I think they use their body the same. I just think AJ Brown has much better hands because To
AJ Brown has better hands than To. To had the drops, but To was much faster too. I don't know. I feel as though there was more routes that To can run, but but like using his body to get open and stuff like that. AJ Brown, yeah, man, he's special. I what I will say about that, and this is actually the problem that I had with it. I don't have a problem generally with what he said or him speaking out. The only problem that I had with it was now you put the bullseye on your back, and teams know now. Oh, AJ Brown has to get the ball now. You know what I mean? And I so this is exactly why this is exactly the reason why I don't like teams that have a top five wide receiver to win a Super Bowl. It's if it gives you having a guy like AJ Brown actually gives the defense an advantage. It sounds weird, but I know if you're planning on beating me and your life's on the line, and your season's on the line, you're not going to try to beat me. He's getting the ball thrown his way a lot of times. That's how you're going to say you're going to beat me. And if I have that, I can now say, all right, what can we do? If it's a double team the whole time, whatever. But you're not walking out of here not throwing him the ball. You know what I mean? 8 to 10 times. It's just
I,
not
I
happening.
I feel like you are gonna walk out there without throwing the ball. If you double team AJ Brown,
You can't look at. Then he says something. Think about it. Now he says something, and that's if a team. Listen. What I'm saying is they were running the ball successfully, right? They were running the ball, and Saquon and all this stuff, and everybody else is getting all this stuff. The conversation wasn't um Jalen Hurts is inaccurate. The conversation wasn't are they having the incorrect game plan. The conversation was they were winning, and Saquon Barkley was more of that. You have this wide receiver. He's not going with this. I'm not touching the ball, or you got to throw him the ball. If I'm the defense, I now know where to go. So for the AJ Browns, the Jamar Chases, the Justin Jeffersons, I know you have to go there to beat me. I know it.
okay. Now I'm gonna give you the other side of it. AJ Brown needed to say that in order for the team to be successful. The Ravens have the worst secondary in football, and the game was very, very close. And if you're AJ Brown and realize Jamar Chase almost had 7,000 yards against the Ravens the week before, and every other team in football, the scenario has been will go over the top because we didn't get to Jalen Hurts not one fucking time. He had all the time in the world. When you have Devontae Smith and AJ Brown and no secondary, like okay, everybody wanted to see Saquon versus my man Henry, right? But the reality is, why are you playing? You can play any game of football. So why aren't you playing to your strengths and against the other team's weaknesses? AJ Brown needed to say that because you have poor coaching. If the coach were good, AJ Brown would have never said that. But because the coaching is so bad, you need to say, "Hey, motherfucker, You have a top three wide receiver, you have two top five wide receivers, and you want to run a ball because the fans who are alcoholics are sitting at home saying Saquon,
Yeah,
Saquon.
they some alcoholics. You got that
But,
right.
uh, but
Don't forget, for
let's
people who don't know, and I'm not sure if it's the only one, but the Eagles have a jail at the at the stadium. I don't know if another stadium has a jail at the stadium. I digress. Keep going.
like you. All right, everyone else is playing week to week. The Eagles are playing for the Super Bowl. So if you get the kinks out right now, which AJ Brown just ironed them out on national television, so you can't ignore it. Like we've been saying all season and last season, and every Eagles fan because they changed left and right. They've been saying how bad the coaching is, how bad the play calling is. So now AJ Brown says it,
Mhm.
and guess what? The next week, Jalen Hurts looks like a fucking Heisman winning college quarterback. He threw for 300-400 yards. How many touchdowns? I Saquon is Saquon's game does not get stopped if you throw the ball. Saquon's game opens up if you throw the ball because now you can't stack the box. But if you're not gonna throw the ball, it's gonna look like a sloppy game like
I
last week.
agree. And I'm saying that was well put. That was well said. I agree with what you just said. I'm just saying, just like you said, that was the one side. The other side of that is defensively. I know you ain't coming out of here without throwing him the ball
That's perfectly fine.
8 times.
I know, well, I believe, I don't know because I don't know him personally. But if they go to the Super Bowl and you double team AJ Brown is not going to be upset with Jalen Hurts going to Devontae Smith. I mean, like that's just common sense. Do I want a Super Bowl or do I want to prove a point? He's gonna go for the Super Bowl.
Why? Well, wide receivers are proving the point. I'm gonna be honest with you. Let's keep it real. I'm not saying that they're selfish. I'm
Justin
not saying that
Jefferson,
they're selfish. What I am saying is wide receivers are like I'm proving the point.
Justin Jefferson said not even 2 weeks ago. Either I'm gonna get off or my team's gonna get off. Either way, you can't stop us all. That's over one game. I'm talking about Super Bowl.
I'm just
If
saying
it comes out to the Super
okay,
Bowl,
and with that said, if I was an AFC team, I would love for the Vikings to be the team that I'm playing. I would love it. Let me get that team. But
I mean that's probably the best team to go against because Sam Darnold's probably the worst of the best quarterbacks.
that's cool. You know what? We're gonna jump ahead. We're gonna skip that last game. We really don't have too much time for that. Let's jump ahead. Let's start with the week 16 picks, and then we'll start with your playoff picture and stuff. So week 16 picks. Broncos Chargers. What you got?
I'm going with Broncos because the Chargers have been
Same.
disappointing.
Same.
It's a
Same.
division game. It's very important, playoff implications, but
I
the
don't
Chargers have not shown
believe
me
in
shit.
what the Chargers are. I never have, but they did overachieve. I'm gonna be honest with you. All right, Steelers, Ravens. No, we're gonna keep that for the next segment. No, we're not. Don't you answer that. Eagles, Commanders.
Obviously, Eagles, but I do love the boy Jaden Daniels. He's a monster.
I'm actually going with the Commanders on this one. Not because it's more of a thought, but he got to show something. You know what I mean? Like the league has kind of caught up to him, and I think he needs another game against a good team to say, "Hey, listen, I am that dude." You know what I mean? All right, Vikings, Seahawks.
Obviously, Vikings.
Nah, I'm going Seahawks. I think the Seahawks need this more.
The Seahawks need it more, but I
Nope,
trust the
nope,
defense of
nope. I'm
Vikings.
going. I'm going Seahawks on this one. So hold that thought because this is about to end. We're gonna take five and we can jump right back in that same spot. I'm always rolling with the the hungrier team. If the team that has the better record isn't overly talented, overly more talented than that team. Um, yeah, absolutely. The Seahawks, if they lose this game, that could be the end of their season right there.
All right, so now if the Vikings win this game,
Hmm.
they can win their division and have unless they had to play the Eagles, which I think didn't know they didn't beat the Eagles, but if
No,
unless they had to play
they
the
would
Eagles,
be
that home field advantage,
correct.
like like Seahawks can win their division, got it, cool, sounds good, but
Yeah,
you got DK Metcalf and that's it.
so if the Vikings win and the Lions lose, they'd be in the first place. And
Yes, and
The Lions have the Bears
who else do the Lions have? I just want to look at their schedule.
on their schedule. Let's look at the Lions schedule real quick.
The Bears, the Niners, and the Vikings.
Yep.
And then the Lions have,
Well, that was the Lions schedule you just said. I mean the Vikings.
the Vikings have the Seahawks, the Packers, and the Lions.
Correct.
You got my man Sam Darnold's playing for a contract. The Vikings are playing for a home field advantage throughout the playoffs. That defense coordinator is looking at possibly becoming a head coach if this goes over well. There's a lot
He's not going to
like
be.
riding on them.
Brian Flores isn't going to get any opportunities for head coaching right now.
I don't know.
The league's still mad at him. I mean, keep in mind they just like a year or two removed from what happened in Miami and Tua and them being mad that he won games that they wanted him to lose. It's a weird situation, but
I get all that, and that sounds great. You be mad at them all you want, but this is a feel good story. And now that Miami's imploded on its own, it I think that all is forgiven, especially if they go further than they should go. Which I, I mean, the sky's the limit. You have it's tougher. Yes, you have beat the Seahawks, you have beat the Packers and the Lions. You have a much tougher road to go through than the Lions do to win that division. But if you don't try, like if there's no difficulty to it, does it even count?
okay. All right, that's fine. All right, cool. So let's move on. So now, the game of the week, your Ravens against the Steelers. Now, by the way, let me just say this. For your Ravens, y'all really have two, it's possible three answers that is the only three answers y'all have left to answer as an organization for Lamar Jackson. Uh in this era, there's three answers max. You got you have the Chiefs being the Chiefs. I would say you might still not need it right now, but a Super Bowl and these Steelers right here. That's the answers that you got to have. So starting this week, do y'all beat the Steelers or do they sweep y'all?
They don't sweep us, one. Two, we are something like 15 points away from being, let's see, 12-2. If Justin Tucker can kick those fucking field goals and doesn't miss
Okay.
those extra points, that's two more games we win right there. And then our loss to Kansas City, like, come on now, that was bullshit.
Well,
Like,
listen, I didn't expect. I expected y'all to be in the playoffs. I did transparently. I did expect the Bengals to win their division. Um, but I did not expect you guys to win it. It's just this isn't the team that I thought was going to be at the top of your division. It's just not.
I feel like, I mean, and that's why I kind of wanted the Eagles to lose to the Steelers, because if the Eagles lose to the Steelers are overconfident and we win that revenge game. Now the Steelers have a divisional game coming off a loss. We performed very well coming off a bye week. We had a late bye week, which I think is a curse, and like we've been winning games, but we still had to bring at least the two trades up to par. But when you're gonna make any change, that bye week comes in handy. We have I think we play. Uh, it's something stupid. Like we have like 3 games within 11 days, which
Okay.
is crazy. But um, I feel like we're gonna win this game. It's a must win for us because if we lose it, we go to 9-6. Do we get into the playoffs with a 9-6 record? Maybe
Yes.
because the AFC is kind of weak this year.
Yeah.
But I don't want to hear a maybe. Like
I get it. I get it. I get it. I get it. So I'm picking y'all this week. I do think y'all are going to beat the Steelers this week, and it's really. But I have a question for the Steelers. See, the Steelers, I do feel as though they got a pitch. Not to bring up other sports quotes in other sports, but I think they got a pitch that can beat anybody. I think last week showed you something that last week when they lost to my Colts and everything. They also have a downside that basically says they might have a limitation. I want to. Are they going to lose 2 games back to back? So I want to know: is last week a blip or is it a trend? And that's really what I want to know for the Steelers. Um, but I don't think this is a must win for you guys. But I do think you're going to win. I think Lamar
uh,
is tired of hearing about the Steelers.
it's not a must win. I'm trying to think. All right, so the next team, we're 9-5. We can't. The worst we can go is 9-7. So yes, I think we're in the playoffs almost regardless of what happens. But I'm treating it as a must win because yeah, 99% playoff probability. Um, but I just like my man Chris Rock said, never let that shit go to the judges.
Hmm.
Like we need to knock whoever is in front of us out. We play the Chargers in 2 weeks, who probably going to be on a 2 game losing skid, so they're going to be
You
tough.
see what I'm saying? There could be some questions to be answered. So that's it. Cool. So we're not gonna stay on that too long, no. So you know why you here. I want to know. Tell me. Let's start with your playoff picture, and just for the record, I'm just going to tell everybody the teams that are eliminated for people who don't know. The Jets are eliminated. Browns are eliminated. Jaguars, Titans, Patriots, Raiders. Probably the last time you're gonna hear about them from here. So in the NFC, the eliminated teams. The Bears are eliminated. The Panthers and the Giants. Yeah, like they're still. That's crazy. The Saints are still technically in the playoff hunt, and they said they haven't won a game since like October. That's crazy. Um,
That's super crazy.
but yeah, so that's what it is. So tell me who's going to the playoffs first of all.
All right, first off,
You could do NFC or AFC. Pick
we'll
pick
go
one of the two
NFC.
first.
We'll go NFC. The
NFC first.
NFC is super easy because all these teams are top of the league.
Okay.
Eagles,
Okay.
Vikings, Lions,
Eagles,
and
Vikings,
Green
Lions.
Bay.
Okay.
And Green Bay are all locks.
Okay.
Um, I feel like Tampa Bay is going to win their division.
Hmm.
Um, I remember you had the Hawks winning that division, but I still don't trust in Kirk Cousins.
No, actually, I had the Rams.
No, the Tampa Bay and the Rams aren't in the same division.
The Seahawks are in the Rams division.
I mean, I'm at the Falcons. I
The
apologize.
Falcons, yes, I did have the
I
Falcons
had
winning
the
the division.
Falcons. Um, Tampa Bay's going to win that division. I have the Rams winning their division, even though I would love to see Geno and DK there. And I mean, 49ers just imploded. No, I don't know anyone who saw that coming.
Okay.
Um, and the last team I have making the wild card race will be the Commanders.
Okay.
Um, AFC bound,
So everybody in the
obviously.
playoffs right now, you're like, this is just how it's going to shake out, pretty much.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't even know if, like logistically, I don't even know if it can shake any other way because all right, Buccaneers, the Rams, the Packers, Commanders.
I mean, the Falcons can still technically win the division, although Kirk Cousins just got benched.
I don't know how they paid that man that money.
Didn't we have
Uh,
this conversation like when and I was like and didn't we have this conversation right in the summer where I said
yes, and
if you are you
you're
paying
wrong then
him
too.
or are you getting a quarterback, but you don't do both.
Yeah, but you said that was the best move, and you specifically said that the Falcons now have a quarterback, and everything they did made sense. And I said, how can that make sense to pay that man $80 million? No, no, he's getting 4 year, $160 million, right? You go pick up that rookie quarterback when you could have got Russell Wilson for $1 million. How does that make sense?
Um, because Russell Wilson wouldn't have flourished here.
I don't need him to flourish.
He wouldn't. No, he's flourishing in Pittsburgh. He wouldn't
What
flourish here.
you're failing to realize is having an old quarterback flourish is never what you want. All you need is someone to start the
Sure,
car
I
for.
do.
No,
If he like what I would want is to have Russell Wilson because I don't have to pay him and he's older. Let me win games now
all
and
I'm,
then have somebody if I could get somebody for later, yeah, I would love to do that. But what I'm saying is about the Falcons was they're not ready to make the pick of quarterback. They need to pull out the roster. They got a quarterback and they could have got a player.
bro. They could have did both because if you saved $159 million that you're paying Kirk Cousins over Russell Wilson, you could have got a free agent player and the quarterback in the draft, which would have all panned out. Not to mention, Kirk Cousins was coming off an Achilles injury.
I understand that.
So again, the Falcons fucked up.
Okay.
And no one besides Kirk Cousins' mama can tell me any different. Like paying an old white guy
You better
with a
listen to
bad
Mama
will,
Cousins. You better listen to Mama Cousins, all right? No, no.
paying an old white guy with a bad will $160 million is stupid.
Okay, cool. All right, keep going.
Luckiest fan of football.
Keep going.
All right. So NFC I got done.
Okay.
AFC, Kansas City, obvious. The
Hmm.
Bills, obvious. The Texans, obvious. Um, I guess they have the Steelers winning the division. I'm going with the Ravens. So we got all four divisions. We got the Ravens at the top of I'm going with the Broncos, even though I don't trust in Sean Payton. And I'm gonna bring the other Harbaugh brother along with us, only for the reason that mathematically I don't think there can be another team.
Well, if they lose both of their games and the eighth, ninth, and tenth seed all win their games, then they would be out. If they lose, so if the Chargers lose their all their games and like if the Colts run the table, or if the Dolphins run the table, or if the Bengals run the table, they would jump them. So that's why they're not mathematically eliminated.
Got it.
Okay, okay, but that's fair. You know what I mean? I fair. If the Chargers fuck this up, boy. If the Chargers fuck this up, they gonna hear it from me. They gonna hear it from me.
I mean,
I'm actually just looking. I'm just looking to see.
yeah, they're
Um,
playing the Patriots, the Broncos, and the Raiders. Yeah, the Chargers. I mean, I can't see them lose,
Raiders, Broncos.
and the Patriots.
Yeah, they're gonna win a game. Okay, so all they gotta do is win one game, and they're gonna begin.
Yeah. No, I think they have to win two games. Let me just go back.
Didn't I didn't did we play them? No, we didn't play them. They didn't play the Chargers didn't play the Bengals or the Dolphins.
Hold on. I feel like they played the Dolphins, but maybe not. All right, so they played Bucks, Falcons, Chiefs, Ravens. They played the Bengals. They beat the Bengals.
Okay, so they only got to win one against to get out the Bengals. Okay, so they got to win two. So they got to win two games to eliminate the Colts and the Dolphins. You're right. But and how I didn't watch my Colts, I want us. We should be tanking right now. Okay, I don't want to see us. I'm tired of having hope.
Yeah. Um. Next topic is the all right. All right. Who do you have in the playoff picture? Anything different?
Well, because I always do it early, it's to kind of prove a point. So I don't like to move it from what I said. So I said what I said. Uh, I'm not going to move it. I'll discuss that in the off season.
Yeah, I think the thing that's going to throw a lot of people off is no one saw the 49ers imploding like this.
Yeah, and I had them in, so I can't now go back and be like, oh. If I did that, especially me, because you know how I talk. I talk like I'm smarter than everybody anyway. So if I'm gonna say something, I gotta stand on it. So, all right, cool. So then who? Tell me some dark horse before we get into who's going to go to Super Bowl, going to win it. Tell me some dark. Who's your dark horse team that you're saying? You know what? They might be able to fuck this whole thing up, and I don't think if they might be able to wipe out exactly who you think is going to win the whole thing. So go ahead, tell me.
Um, so right now, if I was a betting man, I'd say the Bills and the Eagles are playing the best football possible.
Okay.
And I feel like the two teams that could fuck that up the most are my Ravens and the Minnesota Vikings. I feel
Oh,
like
Vikings. Oh
Vikings.
no. Oh no. All right, go to your Ravens first before I even go. Before I kill that. Talk about your Ravens. Go ahead. Why are you our dark horse?
Um, so we beat the brakes off Josh Allen and his MVP season very early in the
Yes,
season.
you did.
Um, they had no answer for anything we did. They did get better. Picking up Cooper is goes directly to our weakness, but I feel like Zay Flowers and Isaiah Likely and like I feel like our receiving core got that much better since then. Um,
What
I
what's going on? What's
also
going on with what's my man name y'all got from Carolina? He didn't want to play. What's going on there, yo? I like
I,
that pickup for y'all.
I didn't like the pickup at all. I don't think we needed another corner, and I don't think we needed that wide receiver. I like the two tight end set that we had. I like the heavy dose of run and Zay Flowers go out there and do what you do. What I thought we should have done was because in both those trades, right? We got the player, and all we did was swap like a fifth for a fourth or uh, a sixth for a fifth, right? Which is good when you don't know, but like I feel like they should have bought in and they should have offered a third round pick for a DN rather than we lose two rounds. Yeah, and I mean we lose positioning in 2 rounds to get two later picks. I think that
Dante Johnson, that's his name.
they should have just went out and said, "Hey, Oakland, let me get what's the DN's name out there that want to leave with Adams?
Max Crosby.
Yeah, let me get Crosby for a third round pick.
So the only reason, so here's what I don't like about your Ravens.
Chargers, you should be tanking anyway. Let me get Khalil Mack for a fourth round pick. Let me get, you know what I
Okay,
mean, like let me get a Joey Bosa for a
I
fifth
get you.
round pick.
I get you. So the only thing that I don't like about your Ravens is I just think at some position groups like defensive end, you need multiple defensive ends, and it's being hidden because of your game plan. And I think that's still going to catch up to you, and it's the same way I felt last year. It's going to catch up to you. Now, when you say you didn't need like a Deontay Johnson, I disagree. I
Why?
disagree. Zay Flowers, like you have one wide receiver that a team has to even consider. You have one. It's not like you can spread the ball out. It's like he's pretty much a de facto top five wide receiver for y'all. Like, like he has to catch the like I no no. I
I
don't like that.
I like it for the simple fact that Isaiah Likely is an athletic tight end, right? Mark Andrews is a short-handed tight end. Our tight ends, those two tight ends are.
Mark Andrews ain't the same no more. Don't act like he's the same Mark Andrews that he
I
was.
don't I don't I don't need to be the same.
But
I
you
don't
got
need.
Isaiah Likely. You basically got Isaiah Likely and Zay Flowers. That's not enough in the passing game.
It's not enough in a passing game if you're another team. It is more than enough in a passing game when you
Okay,
have.
okay. I'm not good because we got a time constraint. I can't really jump completely into that, but I'll give you that. Um,
Our rush offense is what allows that to happen. That's all I'm gonna say.
okay, I got you. I got you. And like I said, I loved how you guys started using Derrick Henry more out of the pistol eye formation. Not eye, excuse me. Single eye, you know what I mean? Stuff like that because I saw y'all making him out of the shotgun. I was like, this is not going to work. And for the first about 2 games, y'all kind of was doing that. But then y'all was like, all right, let's change that. I thought that was very beautiful. But I'm going to chop down this whole Vikings pick that you just picked real quick. Uh, Sam Darnold is going to be the worst quarterback in every playoff game that he plays. He's not going 3 games straight to come out of the NFC and winning the Super Bowl when he's going to be the worst quarterback. That's just not going to happen.
Okay.
This isn't like the 2000 Ravens with that defense and running game or the 2003 Tampa Bay Buccaneers with that defense and running game, and they still had like Keyshawn Johnson and Keenan McCardell. Yeah, like there was reasons why those quarterbacks were like it was just it was just silly. You know what I mean? What they had. This is not the Vikings roster is not silly. It's very good. It's not silly. And Sam Darnold's gonna be the worst quarterback in every game that he plays. That ain't happening 3 straight times. Sorry.
I mean, I'm not mad at that, but they have the third best um points differential of all the NFC teams. And NFC teams are they're having better seasons than the AFC teams. This is abnormal. After seeing the Lions implode, if they don't get healthy, I feel like the Vikings could be the number 2 seed in the NFC. The number 2 seed means that they'll probably line up against the Commanders. Like it's going to be a situation of attrition. Although I think Jaden Daniels is a better quarterback than Sam Darnold, I think that the stars could align for the Vikings. I think that the Eagles will get the bye. The Lions will have to play maybe Green Bay. Tough game. Injuries going to happen. Uh,
Okay.
Tampa Bay and the Rams. Tough game. Like then the Vikings will end up with the winner of Green Bay and the Lions.
Okay. So just to let you know, these were my dark horse teams. I got the Steelers as one. Like I said, they have a game in them that is like, oh yeah, like this all comes together. They can beat anybody. That game is within them, and I feel like that. They're better built to have that a little bit more predictably. Do I think they're going to do it? I think that's why they're a dark horse. But also for me, I'm also going to say the Green Bay Packers, man. I'm gonna be honest with you. Uh, the NFC is going to be very interesting. I think there might be an upset or two coming in these first round games in the NFC playoffs. We could have a situation. I definitely feel like this could be a situation where like the Rams and Packers are both advancing in there. And when you looked at them through the whole season, you're like, they're not really who I would look at. And I'm like, and the only reason I didn't pick the Rams was because I don't like they got a young pass rusher. I don't really love their pass rusher. I think they got pieces they got to deal with on defense. The defense scares me, but that offense, shoo, people got lucky. People got lucky with that one. But so I'm gonna keep the Rams off of it. But yeah, the Steelers and the Packers, I definitely feel as though it would not. I'm not shocked if either one of those teams is in the playoffs.
You know, I saw a meme earlier today that said the Steelers could have had Jamar Chase, but they picked George Pickens. That's crazy.
I don't think so. No, that doesn't sound correct at all. Because
Who
Jamar Chase was a top 5 pick, and George Pickens was picked in like the second round.
maybe it was the wrong. Maybe I'm saying the wrong player, but it was. Let me see who the Steelers first round picks.
Yeah, he was in the second round, the 52nd overall pick. No, Jamar Chase went in the top 5.
Uh, no, all these memes aren't real then. Oh, well.
I knew that one immediately. Immediately. All right. Well, while you looking at that, I just want you to know now. Now, what I want to know is we went to some hypotheticals. I mean, you can still give me that answer, but now that we went through some hypotheticals, I really want to know who's going to be in the Super Bowl and who's going to win. What's
It's
the
a
Super
all
Bowl looking like?
it's a all bird Super Bowl. Eagles Ravens.
Okay.
Ravens is gonna win
Oh,
by
shit.
3 points.
Of course you said that. Of course you said that. See,
Listen,
listen, the jersey, you like it's Ed Reed. That's the only reason I didn't tell you to take it off about 5 times. I said it once, but it was Ed Reed, so that's fine. But I think Ed Reed is giving you an
it's
irrational.
tough to beat a
Listen,
team.
listen. It's an
It's tough
irrational
to beat a
confidence.
team.
I just feel
It's
as if
tough to
listen,
beat
listen,
a
listen,
team
listen,
twice.
listen, listen. I think Ed Reed is giving you irrational confidence. You just might need to take it off, and I think you'll see, like, oh shoot, like you know what I mean, like. It's like when you go out and you see that girl, you're like, damn, she look all right. I'm about to take her home, but she was drinking. And then in the morning, you look at her, you like,
Coyote ugly.
she didn't look
Listen,
she didn't look as good as I thought she did.
Coyote ugly. Listen, it's tough to beat a team. It's tough to sweep a team.
Uh-huh.
The Eagles snuck it by, and that's cool because we had a long season. We have a tough road. We had a tough schedule. And the fact that the game was that close should have never been. The Eagles are going to default back to this is the game plan. We're going to ride Saquon Barkley against one of the better teams to stop the run. And you saw what they were doing. We're going to step it up in the playoffs. Eagles, Ravens. My Ravens is going to win by 3 points because Justin Tucker is going to make. All right. How about we go back to the last game? If Justin Tucker makes any of those points,
Going back.
is it different? Is it different?
I would still listen. If you guys were in first place in the AFC, I would still feel the same way. It's not the games that you lost that is changing anything for me. Okay. Now,
Come playoff time, we're going to be a disciplined machine. We're not giving up 100 points in penalties. We're not taking
that's fine.
8 penalties a game. We're not. Justin Tucker's not missing anything. The Eagles are a great team. Don't get me wrong, but that great team, you should have knocked us out. You should have put the fear in us. What you showed us is we could beat you, and with all the penalties going your way, with over 100 yards of penalties, with Justin Tucker missing 8 points, y'all still beat us by a point. Nigga, come see us in the Super Bowl.
I understand. I understand. So,
And Kendrick Lamar,
oh boy,
Kendrick Lamar
oh boy.
is
He's
playing in
going
the
in,
Super
y'all.
Bowl.
He's going in.
Did you see that nonsense? They have a collaboration with Drake. Are they kidding me? They foreshadowed it. Ravens in the Super Bowl. You heard it here first, folks.
Okay. Well, I don't want to see Drake in the Super Bowl. I'm gonna be honest with you. Uh, but I do agree the Eagles are going to the Super Bowl. But I don't know why y'all love poking the bear. Like y'all don't know the Chiefs are going back to the Super Bowl. I don't know why y'all act like that you didn't see this last year where everybody had all these questions about can they do something. They got to figure it out. They got, they're the poster child for listen, we're not going into a game plan this whole year and saying this is how we play. We're going to keep the league off balance, and in the playoffs, they're going to go back to the Super Bowl. Okay, like just stop. And the result of the Super Bowl will be the Chiefs are about to three-peat. The Chiefs are going to three-peat. I have no idea why y'all act like Patrick Mahomes isn't Patrick Mahomes. See, people didn't do this to Tom Brady. People act like Tom Brady was doing things that he really wasn't even doing. Patrick Mahomes, the only reason I don't think he's the MVP because until he lost, I was like, I don't care what the numbers are. He's the MVP. They lost 0 games, and he if you took him out, they probably only win 1 game. Okay, so it was the MVP. The only reason I'm saying Josh Allen, which I'm not mad at Josh Allen winning the MVP, is because Josh Allen, it's close enough. And Josh Allen is like, I'm throwing for all these yards and I'm rushing for all these yards. And I got these passing touchdowns and I got these rushing touchdowns and I'm not throwing picks. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, it's just like the numbers with comparable records. Okay, I'm with that. But stop acting like Pat. That ain't Big Pat. Yo, that's Pat, yo. That's Pat. That's Pat, yo. Stop playing with
Listen,
him.
listen. Pat can be whoever he wants to be. When the Ravens are stepping over that dead corpse on the ground,
Oh, boy.
just know you heard it here first. All right.
Okay. Oh, and I
Well,
also so I wanted you to hear. So I have a new thought process on a couple quarterbacks, including Lamar Jackson. For me, Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, and Jordan Love are pretty much the same quarterback.
wow.
Lamar Jackson
Mad
is
disrespectful.
no, it's
Mad
not. It's not
disrespectful.
disrespectful at all.
Jalen
I have,
Hurts
I
is
have, I
not.
have, I have a lot of respect for all three of them, and I think that all three of them. Listen, think about what I just said. I Lamar Jackson, I love Lamar Jackson. I think he's the best of them. But I also looked at the other two, and I'm like, oh, they might be able to overachieve based off everything because they're there. Now, what I'm saying is that is don't ask them to throw the ball 38 times. They should be throwing the ball about like 25 times for about like 200, 250 yards. And they should be running the ball for about 100, 80 to 100 yards, getting a rushing touchdown, get you 2 passing touchdowns. That is the formula for those teams to take what they have and go up here with it. Okay? They will average about 350 yards of combined offense and it will be efficient, and they're gonna take a lot of pressure off of the rest of the team. Yeah, I think they're 80% of the same guy, I think all of them are scary. All three of them are scary.
I think Jaden Daniels is scarier than
Well, he's a
Jalen.
rookie. No, you can't do that. See,
I,
no. This is the stuff that people don't. I'm glad you did that on here. This is the stuff that when I was back in the hospital, we was both working in the hospital, that you would pull this. Now all of a sudden he's not a rookie. Now he's in this kind of conversation. He was a
no,
rookie this whole time. Now all
I,
of a sudden he's in this conversation. I didn't put
he's
him in
still
this
a rookie.
conversation.
He's still a rookie.
Oh my goodness.
You're not. What I'm saying is you're elevating Jalen Hurts to where his you're elevating Jalen Hurts to where his receiving core has elevated him to, not to where his ability is. Like I'll take the Lamar as a better version of Love. That's fine. But Jalen Hurts is like a poor man's Lamar Jackson. Like he had me fooled that Super Bowl year, but he's come back to earth. He had that one fan like the stars aligned for him one time. But
So to
let's
be
go back
honest
to
with you,
Alabama. Let's go back to Alabama. He's a he's you know what? He is the best version of your quarterback. That's what Jalen Hurts is. the best version of
He's
your
not getting
quarterback.
into this conversation. Right? Anthony Richardson. I'm not even talking about him right now. He could sit. He
Uh,
could sit over there right now for me.
he is exactly
But I think
if
right
you
now, Jalen
if you
Hurts. Jalen
if you
Hurts.
take those receivers and then running back away, if you take those receivers away, Jalen Hurts is Anthony Richardson.
No, he's not. No, no. Jalen Hurts is. I think they're playing a game plan that Jalen Hurts don't always have to do it. And now they have Saquon Barkley. It's like, all right, we can sit back a little bit and not have to throw it for like 300 yards. You know what I mean? Like that.
But but
I
he's
think you should
always
be scared of the fact that
he,
he's
he's
not.
always had great he's always had great running backs.
No, he hasn't. Who's his running backs that's been great? Great. Miles Sanders was great.
What was my Swift last year? Like he's had
He's
a
great. DeAndre Swift is great.
his running back core has been very good with combined with a great offensive line. Yes, I'll take it. I'll take it.
But
It
okay. But is it better with Saquon or any of those years that you're talking about?
Saquon is a top three running back in the league.
But he proved that this year.
No, he proved that every year he played with those terrible Giants. You
He had
you
one
gotta
good.
give
Come on, man. Come on, man. Listen, you lucky I gotta wrap this
Saquon
up.
Barkley,
You lucky I gotta wrap
Saquon
this up.
Barkley, bro.
You lucky I gotta wrap this up.
Saquon Barkley's been great his whole career.
He is
He
not.
just never had an offensive line to run behind. Like Saquon's a beast. He's always been a beast.
Listen, you lucky we gotta wrap this up, or I'd have to go in on you on this one. I don't wanna have to do that to you. Not when you're wearing the Ed Reed jersey, because I love Ed Reed. With that said, guys, you can check our 4 episodes. Check our 4 episodes on Spotify and YouTube. Check our reels on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. We out here doing the damn thing, baby. Cesario, you came out here, man. I appreciate everything that you said, man. You did your thing, man. The people love you, first of all. Let me just say this. They talk about you. They leave comments about you. Okay? Let me just say that. With that said, cause you don't know football.